Welcome to Canada Olympic Park in Calgary, Alberta, for the first stop of the Corral World Cup Bobsled Series in 1994-95. We have 27 teams on hand from 16 different countries, including 2 of last year's Olympic medalists from Lillehammer. Only Gustav Vader of Switzerland has retired. Reto Gocci of Switzerland is here, along with the bronze medalist from Italy, Gunter Huber. The athletes will make 2 descents of the track compared to the Olympics, which is 2 descents each day for 4 heats. World Cup, though, is only 2 heats. Here we are, first heat highlights. Canada number 2, Chris Laurie, the driver, Sheridan Baptiste, the brakeman. The Canadians very strong on their home track. Decent start time, and they post a great bottom time that puts them tied for second place with the German sled. Christoph Langen, the world champion from 1993, but in the German system, he didn't qualify for the Olympics last year. Langen was hungry to get atop of the leaderboard. Our first heat leader, though, the Canadian, Pierre Luders from Edmonton, Alberta. His brakeman, Jack Pick from Calgary, smashed the track record and had a 1/10 of a second lead over the Canada number 2 sled driven by Laurie, who was tied with the German Langen. Standings at the end of the first heat. Canada has 2 sleds in the top 3. The Czech, Demir in 4th. Scheimer from the United States in 5th. Check out Huber in 6th. The bronze medalist from last year's Lillehammer Olympics, Gunter Huber. His brakeman, Antonio Tartaglia. They won Italy's first medal in the Winter Olympic Games since 1968. A great highlight for the Italian Winter Olympic program. Huber, 6th place here to the first heat. Considered one of the best pilots in the world. He's a small man, so he doesn't get the great start times that the other powerful people like Luders get. But what Huber gives up at the start, he makes up for down the track, especially when the sled reaches maximum speeds. This former luge athlete probably has the best eye-hand coordination of any bobsled pilot in the world. Look at the rudder tips. Look at the way the sled travels right down the middle of the straightaway. 75+ mile-an-hour speeds. Again, look at the rudder tip to the exit. Perfect. Huber shows why he is considered one of the best pilots in the world. Has a flawless run and goes to the top of the leaderboard here in the second heat. Gunter Huber of Italy across the finish line in a time of 56:94. Nobody knew how good that time would be because there was 5 sleds yet to come. The secret to a good bobsled pilot is no steering. Watch the exit of this corner. Take a look at the rudder tips. No steering by Huber at all. That's why he was faster in the second heat than the first heat. He's atop of the leaderboard. More bobsledding after this. Welcome back to Canada Olympic Park in Calgary. This World Cup bobsledding event brought to you by Corral, the fastest in graphics, sponsors of the World Cup circuit in 1994-95. The weather here at Canada Olympic Park, little light snow. Minus 4.7 is the temperature. The ice temperature, though, minus 2.5. And here's the trap down the track. One thing about bobsledding is it's not the guy who drives the most that wins, it's the guy who drives the least. Up here where the sleds are traveling at 25 to 35 mile-an-hour speeds, no mistakes are allowed. A mistake up here will throw away the gravity opportunity in the sport that allows you to reach maximum speeds down below. Now you're into a couple elaborate corners, now into the 6, 7, and 8 corners of the track. 7 is a big omega to the right, a 180-degree change of direction. Here at Curve 8, you want to set yourselves up for a long straightaway above a Kreisel corner. This is the fastest part of the track, 75 mile-an-hour plus speeds. Now into Kreisel, 270-degree change of direction. You exit uphill. Here on the bottom part of the track is where the medalists separate themselves from the also-rans. Tight, quick corners, on and off quickly. Minute steering, the key to get yourself to the bottom for a fast time. Through and down. In a 54, 55-second time. It's what the bobsledders call the Champagne of Thrills ride. Now, one of the surprises in the first heat from the Czech Republic, Jerry DeMuro, one of the experienced pilots on the track. 4th place, the end of the first heat, good chance to win a medal. His brakeman, Pavel Polonsky, 5:31 start. Good enough to give themselves a chance to get on top of that podium. The Czech Republic, remember last year, before the Olympics, it was Czechoslovakia. Now they have separated. Czech Republic, good start times, and they've been in that top 8, top 9 at the Olympics and World Cup results. They're looking to make a breakthrough. They could do it here in Calgary. Good speed. That time on the left is compared to Gunter Huber of Italy, who had a super time down and has already moved up at least 2 places. Now he's 1,500s behind Huber. He could fall behind Huber also. The Czech Republic. Into the finish, DeMuro, Polonsky. And they have fallen a couple places back of Gunter Huber of Italy, who started this second heat in 6th place and is still on top of the leaderboard. Look at him go down in the Kreisel. Look at the head separate a little bit. Now watch the exit. Let's see if there's runner tips, see if there's any steering. Yes, you can see a little sliding off that corner. A little late off there. That's probably his biggest mistake. A little high there too. To DeMuro, a little bit of problems in the bottom part of the course. Probably put himself out of medal contention. Now it's the Canadian Chris Laurie, Windsor, Ontario. His brakeman, Sheridan Baptiste, from Ottawa, Ontario. Tied for 2nd place at the end of the first heat with the German champion Lange. 5:31 start, very similar to the Czechs. Good form, good technique. Baptiste, good track and field background, athletics. Laurie, more experienced, more successful in the 4-man. That time on the left is the time compared to the Italian Gunter Huber, who has made up an unbelievable amount of ground. 6th place in the first heat, compared to Laurie, who was in 2nd place. He's only got 10 hundredths to play with on Huber. Not a bad exit, but Canada 2 losing time all the way down the track. Now he's 16 hundredths behind. So Huber could still be at top of the leaderboard. Canada 2 could fall. Chris Laurie, Baptiste to the finish. 12 hundredths off.
7.14.
Laurie gonna fall back just a couple hundredths of a second. Here he is in the speed part of the track. Oh, he bumped right there. That threw him in the middle part of the corner. Now he has to climb the wall here. He's gonna have to steer off this corner. And when you steer down there, that's when you cost yourself some valuable time. Now the 1993 world champion, Christoph Lange. Kate Kohler is his brakeman. Awesome starting team. 5:22 in the first heat. 5:22 here in the second heat. Great precision by Germany #1.
They were tied with Canada 2, who just went down the track.
Look at the power. Lange, probably the best starting driver in the world. Both athletes in the sled very quickly. But when you get away from the block as quickly, as powerfully as they do, that's what you want. Time on the left will be Gunter Huber. So Lange has already lost back his start time to Huber. Huber had an unbelievable time. Little spray coming off that corner. 75-mile-an-hour speeds. That's not as good as the Italian Huber. Look for the runner tips here in the exit. Clean. Time on the left is Gunter Huber. The German's got 10 hundredths to play with, and he's in a dead heat right now with Huber. He can't lose any more time to the bottom. Germany won. Going against Italia won. Into the finish. 57-13. He's going to finish behind Huber. Unbelievable. Gunter Huber has gone ahead of 4 sleds, and there's only 1 left to go. Look at the rudder tips here out of curve 8. Look at the spray. A lot of steering there on the exit. He bumps a little bit of a skid. That's where Germany 1 made his mistake. Not long straightaway into the Kreisel. Lange, though, guaranteed at least a bronze medal. The team at the top of the track, with their own destiny right in their hands. Pierre Luder's the drive. Jack Pick on the brakes. Canada won. 5:24 in the first heat. 5:18, a new start record here at Canada Olympic Park. Luders and Pick on a gold medal run. They've got 1900ths of a second to play with compared to the Italian. Look at the size of Luders. Look at the way he runs. Pick also wins the sled very quickly like the Germans. Time on the left is Hoover's. Here's the telltale sign. He's 600ths ahead of Hoover. This is the crucial exit of curve A. He's smooth, a little bit of a bump. 75.1 mile-an-hour speeds. Now it's down to -5. This is gold medal for Canada if he can hold it here on the bottom. Pierre Luders won this event last year. Looking to go back-to-back gold medals on his home track. Into the finish, Pierre Luders of Edmonton. He's got it, 56.96. Not as fast as Hoover's time, but good enough to capture the gold medal in this first World Cup stop of the year. The Canadians do it in style on their home track. It's a great gold medal for Canada, but Hoover, what a great effort to finish second. Long in the German in third, and Luders talks about what it's like winning on his home track. He's with Peter Watts.
I'd just like to thank all of the media and especially all those crazy people from Europe that were rooting for us, the Polish community and the German community. You know, that's without family and friends supporting us, we wouldn't be able to do this. So that's important, but we kind of take pride in that this is our track, and you know, let's make it not worthwhile for everybody to come here.
When we come back, it's World Cup four-man bobsledding from the '88 Olympic track in Calgary. Welcome back to Canada Olympic Park in Calgary for the first stop on the Corel World Cup four-man series. The first of 5 races. Perfect conditions tonight. The athletes will make 2 descents of the track to determine the overall winner. Last year's Olympic results, Harold Chodai of Germany still competing in the sport, not here tonight. Gustav Vader of Switzerland, he's retired. Wolfgang Hoppe, another German who won the bronze medal, he's not here tonight either. Hubert Schasser of Austria is, though, as is Mark Tout of Great Britain. First heat highlights, Pierre Luders of Canada, Ben Hendrick, Jack Pick, and Todd Crawford try to match their gold medal performance in a two-man, and in the first 50 meters, set a new track record with a 5:02 start. That put him in 3rd place, though, at the bottom of the track. In 2nd place, Dirk Wies of Germany. A little bit off the start time, but he was 54.55 at the bottom, only 300ths behind the leader. And that was Chris Laurie of Windsor, Ontario, Canada #1. Set a new track record with a time of 54.52. So we had track records at the top of the track records at the bottom. An excellent night of bobsledding, especially when you look at the leaderboard. The top 3 sleds only separated by 3/100ths of a second. Bobsledding as good as it ever gets. Our first competitor in the 2nd heat, USA #1, Brian Scheimer, Jeffrey Woodard, Randy Jones, Garrett Hines in the break. 5:06 start time in the first heat, but in the 2nd heat, the United States shows its athleticism. Posts a 5:03 start. Scheimer driving one of the Bodine-made sleds named after Jeff Bodine, the auto racer. First time this team has ever been assembled together for a World Cup race, and they show great athletic skill. Scheimer coming off a very disappointing Olympics, where he was eliminated in the four-man competition at the start of the 3rd heat due to hot runners. Good clean exit out of curve 8, 77 miles an hour plus into the big Kreisel corner. 4 G's of force off the exit there. And he looks pretty clean all the way down, but he has lost his time advantage from the start where he was 1100ths up. Scheimer has a chance of falling behind, And he does. He slips at least a couple places. 10 hundredths behind Gunter Huber of Italy. Best part of Scheimer's run, though, was the start. Look at the athletic stride of all three athletes. Now watch their entrance into the sled. It has to be clean and quick, much like cat-like movements is what the expression we use. And they're in the sled very cleanly. Wasn't so clean in the bottom, though. He slipped at least one place. Welcome back to Canada Olympic Park in Calgary for this Corral World Cup four-man bobsled event. Perfect conditions to race. Light winds, plus 3.6 centigrade, and the ice minus 1.0. That's where we've had record times. Absolutely perfect weather conditions for bobsledding as we see it tonight. Now up at the top of the track, Great Britain #1, Mark Tout. He was in fourth place here in the first heat. 5:11 start time in the first heat, 5:10 this heat. Is joined by Dean Ward, Courtney Rumbold, and Lenny Paul on the brakes. This is a very experienced four-man team. Tout, fifth place at last year's Winter Olympic Games in this four-man discipline. He's been driving bobsleds for 11 years. Most of these guys started their career in the British military. Now at a curve 8. This is where the pivotal part of the course exists. And he's pretty clean. 78-mile-an-hour speeds, the best speed we've seen so far. Now watch the exit. Look at the rudder tips. Clean. Mark Tout, very good run so far. Time on the left is Huber. He's got that beat. He should be able to hold it to the bottom, unless he has some disastrous mistake here in the finish. Mark Tout, Great Britain, looking to go on top of the leaderboard. He does. He improves that heat time by 10 more hundredths on the last 300 meters of the track. Mark Tout shows his experience. Look at the heads, pretty much behind each other. But the key here on this exit is the rudder tips. Take a look and see if there's any ice spray on this outlet. None at all. He accelerates off the Kreisel, and that's why Mark Tout's at the top of the leaderboard. Well, you can hear the noise up top. It's obvious it's one of the hometown boys, and it is Pierre Luters from Edmonton. Ben Hindle from Calgary has his jack pick. His brakeman, Todd Crawford. Start record in the first heat of 5:02. The Americans had a 5:03 in the second heat. Let's see if the Canadians can break their own record. Nope, 5:04. They slow down by 100. They trail the Americans by 1/100. Great, powerful start. Watch the way they enter the sled, though. Do they enter the sled with momentum? Yes, they do. They get down very quickly. The scary thing about Pierre Luters, he's only 24 years old. Usually bobsledders at this level are in their 30s. Watch for the exit. He's clean. 78.1, the same speed as the Great Britain sled. He's got 1200s to play with on the British. Time on the left is the British. He's got 1600s now to play with. So this could be a Canada 2 sled at top of the leaderboard. Pierre Luters into the finish. His time good enough to put him in first place and guarantees him at least a bronze medal. Pierre Luters of Canada, the winner of the two-man event, now puts himself in medal contention for the four-man. Another sled in medal contention. Dirk Wies of Germany, Christoph Barsch, Misch Leikemer, and Wolfgang Hupp. Very experienced German pilot. It hasn't made the Olympic team yet because of the big time depth that Germany has in their program. 5:09 start. So he gives up a little time to the Canadians, but Weiss has found ways to make it up on the bottom. Second best time in the first heat. He's got 300s to play with. The Pierre Looters, he's already given 200s back. But that is a good indication because of that start time deficiency. It was 6 at the top, only 3 now. What will it be out of this clock here? 2. So he's gone from 3 to 2, and he's got better speed, 78.3. That's a good telltale sign for the German sled. He's perfect on the exit. The next clock will really tell. There it is, -4. So he had a better Kreisel, better speed, and the Germans are now setting themselves up for first place. Into the finish, Dirk Weiss, he's got it. Great heat on the bottom part of the track. Picked up 10 hundredths in the last 400 meters. So Dirk Weiss and Germany have guaranteed themselves at least a silver medal in this first stop from the Corel World Cup 4-man bobsled series. And this is where he did it, on the bottom part of the track. Super clean at high speeds. Dirk Weiss of Germany, our present leader. Up at the top of the track, though, Chris Laurie of Canada, our first heat leader. He also set a track record. Only had a 5:11 start. Chris Farstad, Matt Hindle, Sheridan Baptiste, there's the team. 5:11 again. So again, in bobsledding, we talk about if you're 800s behind at the top, you'll be 2400s behind at the bottom, all things being equal. So this means that Chris Laurie's got to show his experience and home track advantage here on the bottom part of the track. Now he's got only 300s to play with over the Germans. Time on the left will be the Germans' time. Ooh, Chris Laurie. No speed, and he's 1700ths off the pace. He better hurry up from the bottom or he's going to lose a chance to win a medal. Chris Laurie of Canada. Oh, he's now 2400ths back. Not a good sign for Laurie. He's going to fall at least 3 places unless he finds some way to pick it up in the bottom. Oh, and he loses more time. Chris Laurie has fallen from first place in track record in the first heat to 4th place overall here in the second heat, and listen to the quietness of this crowd. The Germans are celebrating, but the Canadians aren't. Chris Laurie and team had a 5:11 start the same time they had in the first heat when they set the track record, but Laurie must have made some kind of driving error up above Kreisel because he was already 1700s down at the halfway point. And when you're down that much time, that's an indication you made a mistake up top. So there's our winner, Dirk Weiss of Germany. Get congratulatory hugs from all the bobsledders at the bottom part of the track. Our first bobsled 4-man race of the year goes to Germany, the same country that won the gold medal at last year's Lillehammer Olympics. Our final results in this Corel World Cup 4-man from Calgary: the Germans in first, Canadians in second, the British Mark Tout in third. Standing by with the winner is Peter Watts.
It was a big result for us. We didn't think to win the World Cup here in Calgary, and so we are very happy.
And the Germans are very happy. Great way for them to start their World Cup season.